All right, even though my cat is pretty basic colors, I'm trying to use my reference images to steal a lot of interesting colors while holding down Option and bring those in. And every time I paint with a lower opacity brush on this refined layer, it creates new colors, combinations between what was there before. So we got pinks and blues. You can even get some greens in there. Give this sense of fur. And though it's tempting to really zoom in, you'll cover more ground if you try not to, unless you really need to. And if you ever doubt that your refined paint is making a difference, all you have to do is try turning it off and seeing that rough paint layer underneath. So the way I'm teaching it is you do base painting, which is all at 100% opacity, filling in the whole shape. Then you do rough painting, which tries to get your textures and your colors. And then you do, so that this was my base painting, 100%. Rough painting at like 70%. Right? And then your refined painting at around 30%. And that gives you this very nice kind of complex paint surface. You can see where I haven't done any refined painting how sharp it is. I've got to be on the right layer. And how that refined painting can just smooth it out, define it a little bit better. If you hold down Control while you click, you can change your size of your brush and your brush type. So I'm just floating over Option just to get to all the color controls. And zooming into 100%, which is what I'm at now, shows you what your paint texture will be were you to print this as part of your portfolio. The navigator shows me where I am in the big scale. What's weird is this brush isn't changing angle as much as I want it to. It should be changing angle each time I use it. We'll see. I think it's just the preview of it in Photopea doesn't show you that angle change. But the brush seems to be working the way I want it to. All right. So apart from these refinements to the edges and to the transitions, you want to see if there's more to your overall image that you need to work with. So for me, I'm not particularly happy with the back legs still. And the little paws, and the little pink and black toe beans on the paws. But as I do that on the refined paint layer, because it's only at 30% opacity, it shows all that texture underneath still, so I don't lose that. But I can refine the highlights and the shadows. If I see too much of that base painting coming through, that's where I use my refined paint. The Photopea is starting to lag on me a little bit, so it's probably a good idea to close some of these. Extra tabs. Give it as much processing memory as I can. And if it lags too much, I can always just shut it down. Save it, restart Chrome, and load it with a clear memory cache. It's a pain, but it's the cost of using freeware. And again, if you doubt that the refined painting is doing something, just turn it off. You'll see how much it adds to the places I've used it. And how much there still is to go. You're keeping kind of big shapes in mind, silhouettes in mind. We're finding the main focal points first. Yeah, all of your color choices are your own. They can be inspired by your inspiration and your reference. But you end up making pretty refined, pretty complex choices when it comes to your colors as you layer them up with these low opacity textured brushes. So a black fur of a cat, it's hard to imagine all of these colors being in there. But it can add interest, intensity. Oh. Accidentally got out of my, what's going on? Yikes. I got hung up in my Screencast-O-Matic tools there a little bit. So now I'm going to use this refined brush on my wing. And with all that rough painting underneath, now I can just glaze this 30% or so opacity over the top of it and kind of bring everything together in this wing, even though I wanted it a little bit more colorful on the inside here. This will help blend all the colors together. And because I want it to be kind of a feathery texture, I just try to be a little bit more rounded with my strokes versus the kind of more straight-edged fur of the cat. Because feathers are different than fur. So I'm kind of drawing with little loop-de-loops as I mix. And again, if you don't know that your refined painting's doing anything, just try turning it off and you'll see it does quite a bit. Again, using a lot of option to steal color. I don't really need my references anymore because I can steal color from myself and I'm just trying to refine it to where I'm happy with it. So this is the step of digital painting that takes the longest, trying to get everything to a level of finish